Welcome to today's podcast, and I am going to take a departure from what I have been discussing in my previous video. Today, I'm going to talk about the future of academia in the era of artificial intelligence. I know this is one of the most sensitive topic that I can handle in this country and also beyond. And what am I discussing today? I want to challenge the academia in this country and beyond because the paradigm shift that the chat GPT brought about when it was publicly released in the year 2022, that was actually November 30th of the year 2022, there has been a lot of skepticism about this technology. It has shaken the academia, and the universities are struggling, or rather, the institutions of higher education are struggling to cope with the dilemma caused by this artificial intelligence, especially in the production and consumption of academic knowledge. This includes, of course, some challenges like students' ability to use AI to write term papers, research essays, theses, and dissertations, and even publishable journal articles. And one of the things we must have noted is that there has been an open resistance to this kind of technology, especially in our universities. Whether it is a dilemma or a resistance is something that we need to examine ourselves. But the question is, what is the future of higher education in the wake of artificial intelligence? I want to also note that resistance has become a big business. Someone wants to keep us ignorant, but we must pay for it. Western tech companies have offered solutions to stop AI use in the institutions of high education and also checking AI generated content. And in most cases, these tech companies help us to label what has been AI generated as plagiarism. And that is where the dilemma is. And if you have noted, these also Western tech companies or tech giants are reaping a lot of money to fund resistance to a change that has come. So I want to illustrate my point by giving two stories across 19th century and another story in the 20th century. Let me give you the first story. In the early 19th century, the economies of Europe and North America were largely horse-powered. Then the steam locomotives were introduced. At that particular time, railroads began expanding across Europe and North America. And those who relied on horses for transportation, for farming, resisted that change. They feared that locomotives would disrupt traditional industries, put horse breeders and carriage makers out of business, and even pose health risks due to smoke and noise. Those were actually the mindsets of those people who resisted locomotives. Later in the same century, one person we know very well called Henry Ford introduced Model T in 1908. Model T was a revolutionary automobile that transformed transportation. And it was designed to be affordable, durable, and easy to operate, making car ownership accessible to an average person. So Henry Ford came up with a solution that was threatening to phase out the horse-powered economy. And it faced skepticism from those who relied especially on horse-drawn carriages. Once again, some believed that his technology was unreliable, dangerous, and unnecessary. Later, the horse-driven economy collapsed and the new technology took over. What do you think happened to those who resisted? My story number two. Number two story goes back or closer to the 1980s and early 2000s, when computers and word processors first became widespread in those particular decades. Some academic traditionalists believed that typing instead of handwriting would make students less disciplined, less thoughtful, and less creative. They argued that handwriting forced deeper engagement with ideas, while typing encouraged speed, but it also brought about carelessness in the academia. Some educators further feared that easy editing features that came with word processors would lead to sloppy thinking because students would not need to meticulously plan their work before writing. I'm saying this because I know I'm speaking to academics who wrote their thesis, used handwriting to write their thesis and their term papers before even the computers were popularized. Of course, the concerns faded over time, and the people realized typing enhanced productivity rather than diminishing creativity. Today, similar debates are happening with artificial intelligence. Some are worried, and especially in the academia, that AI assisted writing might weaken critical thinking, while others see it as a tool for deeper exploration of ideas. And that is where I am. History has shown that every new technology faces skepticism at first. But the challenge is this, because I want to challenge higher education, our universities, and jointly, I also want to challenge the Commission for University Education in this country. The question is, how long are we going to award PhDs and master degrees based on theses and dissertations? How long do you think we are going to use that? Instead of investing in software that is meant to resist artificial intelligence revolution, why not invest in the knowledge on how to replace dissertations, theses, research essays, and term papers, among others, as an assessment method in the higher education? Because according to me, they are already irrelevant. Why are they irrelevant? Because students that we have today, they can write theses, they can write dissertations, they can write term papers, they can write research essays using an AI within hours, within minutes. So should we continue resisting the artificial intelligence, or we should evolve? Remember the story I've given you of Henry Ford. Those who used to make horse shoes, they had either to go home or transform their businesses into making car tires. Those who had invested into companies to make food for the horses, they had to transform their companies to sell car fuel. And yet, those who had invested into companies to wash and clean horses, guess what they were forced to do? They had to convert their companies to offering car wash services. What are we saying? Critical questions abound this that I would want all academia at the universities to think. And of course, Commission for University Education Secretariat. Isn't it time we start shifting toward project-based doctorates? Isn't it time we start thinking of portfolio submissions, for instance, some methods that we can use to award these particular degrees? Isn't it time to consider industry collaborations or comprehensive exams to assess expertise? We must find ways to ensure that PhDs and master's degrees reflect deep knowledge and original thought, even in an AI-driven world. Whether we like it or not, it is time to integrate AI tools into theses, dissertations, term papers, and research essays. We must start AI literacy. Against the thinking of many, we must start teaching our students how to generate theses, term papers, dissertations using AI. In fact, what we should be examining now is not the inability to use the AI, but the ability of our students to use AI in their learning and also in our teaching. AI literacy should be used to expose students of or what we call AI assistant learning and also academic writing. By doing that, we will think innovative ways on how to assess our students in the AI era. And we shall make sure that particular assessment is AI compliant. I know it is difficult, but we have no other way. We will have to comply, or we will perish. And that is the scholar's oracle.